Alrighty. Well, if you have an S5 and you have trouble with it constantly rebooting, there's a number of possible things that could be going wrong. If it reboots at a set point, it boots up to a set point, bang, restarts, gets to that same point again, restart, same point again, restart, may well be something to do with the memory in the phone. It can be the memory in the phone. It can be to do with having a software upgrade and you've got stuff left in the cache memory that needs to be cleared. Sometimes it's an actual app, and if you start it in safe mode and disengage that app, you might find the problem goes away. And all of that is covered on a number of websites that you can find. However, if your phone decides to reboot as you're randomly using it, and then goes again and reboots again and reboots again and just keeps rebooting, and you pull the battery out, and you can't seem to really put your finger on it, or it will reboot sometimes within a few seconds of restarting itself, and you'll have Samsung written on the screen. Sometimes it'll only reboot once you get to your main Android screen. And sometimes it will only reboot once you go in and start up an app such as YouTube or something like that. You may have it reboot if you're trying to watch a video and you re-enter, it's all fine and it's not doing anything. And you start up and you let it sit for a minute or two. Then only when you go to restart YouTube, it dies again and reboots. You may eventually get to a point where it is continuously rebooting and it is basically unusable. Well, I have had that happen, and I have discovered exactly what it is. Exactly what it is. Notice in periods of heavy use, as in when it's just starting up and it then tries to connect to the cell phone tower, it then starts using its data feature or something like that, it bang goes out. Some of them will start up to this screen, you'll let it sit for 5 minutes and it'll be fine, but if you were to go straight in and go straight and start YouTube straight away, that'll kill it. You know what it actually is? It's not all the memory and this and that and blah 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 blah. It's not software related, it's not firmware related. It is the battery that cannot give enough power to the phone. I don't mean enough volts, I mean enough amps. Now, I have seen situations with electronics involving solar electronics, involving a number of devices which draw a certain amount and they have a dead battery. I've even seen somebody have it happen on a charge controller, where you start with this flash, 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 flash bullshit. And what it is, the draw comes on, it doesn't have the ability to give enough current that the device or the machine or the motor or the light or whatever needs. Because of that, it will shut it off. So it shuts it off because, well, battery can't give enough power to run it, and off it goes because it just doesn't have the energy to do it. As soon as it turns off, within a couple seconds, the volts jump again. Then it suddenly decides, oh, we have enough volts to turn on. So it tries to turn on again, which then drops the voltage and crashes it again. And the power draw stops. And the volts go back up. And it starts again, and around and around and around in bloody circles. That, in effect, is what has been happening with my phone. I think it may have been, I've been using it quite heavily, and I think it may have been under high draw periods it would do that. Then, it just started doing it fairly regularly. Then it went to the point I just couldn't even start it. Why you see it running there is it's running on the original battery. I got to go and get battery number 3, which I went, and they don't have it in stock for another couple of days. I've got to wait for more to be couriered down because they've run out. But this is the original battery. Now, surprise, surprise, the original battery, well, it would never hold a charge above 80%. I turned it on, it was at 77%. I tried to charge it, it got to 81, 82, and I had the back off and the battery's getting really warm. It just won't take any more than 80%. That's why I got rid of that original battery. Well, I didn't get rid of it, I just sat it aside in a nice place and went and bought another one and put it in, and it all seemed good. Now I have a lot of troubles with that other one going above 94, 96%. Used to be 96, now I go above 94. Now the thing's basically a dead horse. Fairly quickly. It's gone downhill in the space of a few days. What has basically transpired is that she's died, and well, the old battery can't hold enough capacity any more than 80%, but it has no troubles with current, and I can just friggin' whoop straight into YouTube or whatever I damn well want to get into, you know, no big deal. In we go, bang, you know, and bingo. And this is the thing, it's not an actual problem. You know, we've got data running, no big deal. So I could probably turn the GPS on as well. Something I've noticed in the past, in older phones I had, and particularly LGs, because, well, LGs are always good and they're always that little bit cheaper, and you find out they're actually always that little bit shitter as well. I've had a lot of LGs that had batteries die, and I gave up on LG. What I would notice though, as the battery died on about 3 or 4 different LG phones I had, it'd all be good, and then it'd sort of get really bad really quickly. Like it'd go from fine and then start having troubles, and in the space of 3 days from the first time it had any sign of any trouble, it would be completely buggered in 3 days. It didn't matter if you charged it, this, that, the other, blah, blah. There's different ways that people use where they actually put their battery in the freezer and freeze it, fully flatten it or something like that, freeze it, bring it back out, fully charge it again, and it's like a new battery. That's a little trick. But having said that, if you have a lithium-ion battery, there's times where, and it may include lithium polymer as well, they will go downhill slowly over the space of a few years, or they will just drop off the edge of the cliff and die within 3 days. And I think basically I'm facing that again. They're nice cheap batteries, only $45 Australian per battery. That's, you know, you're looking at around about $36, $37 US. You know, so I get another, but this is going through one battery a year. It's bloody smartphones, you know, and it is what it is, you know. It is what it is. But anyway, I've identified what it is. If you have problems that you can't explain, try and either borrow someone else's battery or dig up an old battery that you may have had and see if it doesn't keep restarting, because it seems as though these are some of the problems that we've had with that. I changed over batteries back and forth, and it seemed to be running fine. I thought it was the phone. It seemed to be running fine under this old battery. So I thought I'll turn it off, and I'll change back to the battery that I've had in it. And you know, I couldn't even get the bastard to boot up to Android. Fracking hell, just constant boom, boom, boom. Changed back again. I changed them back, you know, twice each before I realised exactly what was happening. But anyway, in the meantime, I've got something that I was hoping to get a while ago, because I keep getting in bed and running the battery flat, and then, well, I don't really want to get up and charge the phone again till morning, but then I've got like 5% battery. Yes, that would be 8,000 milliamp hour USB battery. Fairly substantial one. I am shocked at how they dropped in price. I've had ones previously, and I've looked at other ones previously, and they're bloody expensive. And that was a while ago, so I wasn't going to get one for a while, and I was in there at a place that I didn't think had them, and then seen the earphones and turned the corner, and yeah, $20, which you're looking at, I don't know, 15, 16 US dollars for holy smoke. So with a bit of luck, this one, you know, but it's fairly good. It's got a torch on it, tells you the exact charge level it's at. Little light blinking there that says in when it's charging in. When it's being used, it has another one that says out. So anyway, we'll live with all that for the next couple of days.